Hey friend, Steve here with IBC Global. Today, I'll talk about how we recently helped a couple prepare for retirement and they never have to worry about running out of money. So what I'll do is walk you through the exact process I took them through and then show you how they're able to spend not just the amount that they wanted to, but more than that during retirement while their money continues to accumulate over time. So whenever we go over a strategy like this, what I like to start with is learning as much as I can about the individual's situation. This has to do with both their financials and also their goals. So starting with this couple, it's a husband and wife who we've been working with for a little bit now. The first thing we did was collected their assets and liabilities. So this is a basic questionnaire that we have, and we're actually able to complete this over a video call together. So the couple has some money in cash, but they don't like to leave a large balance in there. They're always putting their money to work. So they've got a lot of money in a 401k. We see that they contribute $10,200 to the 401k, and they also receive an employer match of $15,300 per year, and their current balance is $760,000. They also have several Roth accounts. So the wife has a Roth 401k. She's currently contributing $8,500 per year, and her current balance is $60,000. Both the husband and wife have Roth IRAs, in which they both contribute $7,000 per year, and the balances are $153,000 and $116,000. And then they recently started whole life insurance policies with us, which are designed for high cash value. They are contributing $10,000 per year each, so a total of $20,000, and their first year cash value will be very close to $18,000. Their home is worth a little bit less than $500,000, and they also have a health savings account currently valued at $122,000. They are in a very healthy position. When we look at their debt, they've got a mortgage of about 90 grand. Their monthly mortgage payment is about $1,800, and their anticipated payoff date is about 10 years from now, 2035, which is when they want to retire as well. So if we scroll down here, their income is healthy. They are at just about $200,000 per year. They have $170,000 in salary, and then their bonuses are a little bit more than $25K per year, but we just ran the numbers on the absolute lowest end possible. So whenever we're putting any type of retirement strategy together, or really anything with money, what I prefer to do is run the numbers as conservative as possible. Because if the numbers look good when I run everything conservative, if they do better than that, I'm happy. If they do worse than that, I'm not that happy. We don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So right now, the husband is 49, the wife is 48. They'd like to retire at age 60, so in about 12 years. Now, their sources of income during retirement. They don't have any pensions, they don't have any real estate, and they have no desire to get into real estate. So a fixed source of income will be Social Security. We'll see one spouse at 67, which is when they want to take it. We looked at different ages and they're like, we want to take it when we hit full retirement. So for one spouse, it's just under $4,000 per month. And the other spouse at that time will qualify for 50% of the other spouse, just under $2,000 per month. Now, whenever we're looking to retire, what I like to ask about are current expenses. So this can be tough to project into the future, but we just start with what we have now, and then we gradually build on that. So their current living expenses are $7,000 per month, and this includes their mortgage payment of $1,800, which will be gone when they retire. They've done a good job paying this off. Now, their goals when they retire is really just one. They want to enjoy themselves. And the husband said, travel is number one. That is what we want to do. So when talking about the target income that they think that they'll need during retirement, I always like to ask rather than assume. They said somewhere between $100,000 and $120,000, which I think is a good number to start. Personally, I do like the idea of making this higher just because of inflation and taxes. But if we're going to work with this number and say, okay, let's make sure that our model gives you income of at least, call it $120,000 per year, and everything on top of that is gravy or making the model look even better, that's fantastic. So that's what we're going to aim to do. So the first thing that I'll do is walk through this with a prospect or a client. This helps me collect information on their financials and also information about their retirement and what they'd like to do when they retire. Then we'll put together an outline, and then lastly, we'll look at the numbers. So for the outline, this is helpful because it's really meant to show you ideas that I like to put together for you as a client. We're assuming you're the client here, and then talk through different options. Usually this is more of a conversation, but I do like to send this to someone first before we have a conversation so they can absorb it, think through it, and then come back with questions and comments. So the first thing I like to do is start with an agenda. It just makes things simple and it makes the entire flow of this presentation clean. So the first thing we want to do is show you how you can retire at age 60 with an income of $100,000 to $120,000 per year. Next, show you how you can leverage your current 401k during retirement because the majority of your nest egg is sitting in that 401k. Next, we want to analyze annuities, specifically for the guaranteed income. And it's usually very difficult to fund an annuity with an existing 401k that I have through my employer that I'm working for right now. If it's an old 401k or IRA, it's possible. They've got Roth IRAs. So one thing with annuities is if you transfer a Roth IRA to an annuity, it can be set up where it still keeps that Roth IRA classification, which means when we activate the income, it's guaranteed and it's also tax-free, which can be very appealing. But with that said, the main question is, can your assets produce enough income during retirement without taking on market risk and without running out of money? That's the big concern, and that's what they want to see, if it's possible, without having to pay management fees or work with someone that's going to show them all these fancy things that they don't really have much interest in. The husband has managed the family's finances, and he's done a very good job doing that. What we look at first is asset accumulation. And the first thing that I'll say to someone, like I said it to them, is really nice work saving money. Like when I looked at their traditional 401k accounts, Roth accounts, HSA, and recently started whole life insurance policies, they're savers. Like they are saving a lot of money on a yearly basis, which has got them to where they're at right now. So if we exclude their home, their assets exceed $1.2 million. So this is optimal, being that both of them are under the age of 50 and they have time to accumulate these assets. What we're going to do when we look at these assets continuing to grow over time is we are going to look at a very conservative interest rate of 4 to 5%. And I say very conservative because he's been doing a lot better than that year over year. But again, looking at things conservatively and making this model work in the ultra conservative or worst case scenario is what we want to see is possible or not. Let's take a look here at the assets. What we've got on tab 3 of the Excel workbook. It's a lot of information. So what I like to do here is itemize an individual's accounts. So you've got the 401k on the left. In purple, you've got Roth accounts. You've got the HSA. Then you've got the 2 whole life insurance policies. And on the far right, we've got the total net worth. So the living net worth represents all of the accounts and the cash value of the life insurance policies, whereas the legacy net worth represents all of the accounts and then the death benefits of each life insurance policy, meaning if they die, the account balances plus the death benefit of the life insurance policies would be passed to the next generation or to whoever they designate their beneficiaries to be. Now, one thing you may have noticed is these are built with contributions. We've got the employer contribution. So as we're contributing to the accounts, we'll see the value increase. We built in an income model if we wanted to distribute money. For example, if we said, let's pull out 100 grand per year from that 401k when we retire, we'll see that balance come down as a result. Also, if we wanted to change the interest rate, right now it's at 5%. If we wanted to change it to 4%, everything will update accordingly. So whenever we build these models out, I do want to make them interactive for the client and also show them how they could use it. This way, it's not just a piece of paper that says, hey, here's what it is. And if they say, hey, it's actually different over here. I'm pulling money out, or I'd like to see what it looks like if I change the interest rate. We're going to build that in. This way, the client can change things around, because if I'm a client, I like to change things around when someone sends me different models. Okay, so let's take a look at some important information here. Right now, the household income is $200,000 per year while they are working. Their current retirement start date is 2037, when they'll be 60 years old. The target income is $100,000 to $120,000 per year. And a note that I put in here is preferably after tax. Now, Social Security. At 67, we know that one spouse is getting just under $4,000 per month when they reach full retirement, which is about $48K per year. And the other spouse will qualify for 50% of that benefit, which is a little bit less than $2,000 per month. That's a nice combined Social Security benefit. When we look at this, it's a little bit more than $71,000 per year in total Social Security benefits. But even with that said, the problem is if they retire at 60, if they're not planning, or I should say if they don't want to take Social Security until they're 67, they don't have any pensions and they don't have any guaranteed sources of income. So how do they produce that $120K per year? It's got to come from their assets. Now, when they hit 67, they'll have some help. Specifically, their Social Security will kick in and they'll have $71K per year. But if their target is $120,000, well, 70 plus 50 gives them 120. Okay. So what's the solution? We're going to look at two main things here. One, we're going to look at the 401k. And second, we'll look at the existing Roth IRAs to generate the target retirement income they're looking for. And as a consideration, they don't have to do this, but I would look at some Roth annuity products, which the husband was very interested in, to provide a guaranteed income stream that also has a sweet tax benefit. Okay, so for the retirement strategies, or strategy, I should say, what we're going to look at is using their current Roth IRAs and moving them into annuities. So the wife has a $150,000 Roth IRA and the husband has a $115,000 Roth IRA. The age 67 income, meaning if they buy the annuity now and wait until they are 67 to take income, the wife is guaranteed $32,000 in change per year, whereas the husband is guaranteed $24,000 per year. So the total annuity income, if they both wait until 67, is $56,000 per year. That's based on annuity rates when we prepared these quotes. At 60, because they're rolling their Roth accounts into the Roth annuities right now, They're going to take income at 67. When they retire at 60, what do? Well, how they generate their target income is going to be through their 401k. So what I would look at here is distributing at least $160,000 per year, since all of your income is coming from the 401k and all of it's going to be taxable. So the total income is 160. It'll probably be closer to 120 to 130 after tax. But the question is, did I hit my 120? The answer is yes. Now, you're going to see when we look at the numbers, they can't pull 160 from the 401k forever. They'll run out of money quickly. But when they hit 67, they won't have to. So at 67, here we go. Total annuity income, $56,000 per year. Social Security, $71,000 per year. 401k distributions. We're still going to look to pull $35K per year from the 401k. And if we add all of that up, they're just over $160,000. The difference here is that a lot of that is tax-free, being the Roth account. Did I still hit my target income of $120,000? Yes, I did. Let's take a look at the numbers, shall we? So what we've got here is our workbook. And where I always like to start these is with where we are currently at. So we're in 2025. Here's the husband, here's the wife, there's their W-2 income, there's the bonus that they receive every year. Their plan is to work through 2036 and then fully retire in 2037. So what we want to look at here, income sources. If they plan on taking Social Security down here, there you go. Those are the numbers we looked at earlier, about $48K for one spouse, $24K for the other. Then we've got the two Roth accounts. We're activating those the same time that we're going to pull Social Security. See what's going on here? Now, what about this? Here's the problem, that gap. If I want to retire here, I need some money. They've saved a lot. So what we're looking at here is using that 401k. Now, they might end up converting some of this 401k to Roth while they're still working, meaning before age 60. They're not sure if they're going to do that yet. I did refer them to Mike, who's a CPA we work with. Brilliant guy. Also works for the SEC, so he knows a lot of the ins and outs when it comes to tax law. But they're currently working with him. But just for the sake of this model, we're going to assume $160,000 per year is taken from the 401k. So what we look at here, gross income and target income. If the target's 120, are we hitting that? Specifically down here. Yes, which is sweet. Now, the 160 coming from the 401. Here's what it looks like. So right now, with the wife's 401k contribution plus the employer match, the total amount going into their 401k is $25,500. The account value is currently $760, and what we're looking at here is 4% annually. Ultra conservative. I'm not a retirement planner, by the way, by any means. This is just basic math. We're just putting everything in Excel so we can project everything out conservatively. But at 4%, which he feels is very, very conservative as well, those contributions, what am I at by the time I retire? $1.5 million. If we adjust that model to 6%, watch the 1.5. Goes to 1.8. It's the power of compound interest. All right. So what this is meant to show is first accumulation, but then second, when he takes that 160 per year, I should say when they take that 160 per year, we see the impact that it has potentially on the 401k. It's all hypothetical. This is super conservative though. And then when they get some help from Social Security and the annuities, they won't be as reliant on the 401k. So, does it work? I say yes. And if we move the Roth IRAs into the annuities, they were contributing $7,000 each. That cash flow they plan on continuing to contribute. They can continue to contribute to their Roth IRA accounts if they want to do that, to rebuild the balances or put the money somewhere else. My point is, what I really like with these models is seeing if we can hit the target income we want by leveraging existing assets, but looking at them conservative and using products that produce guaranteed income. This way, if it's me and someone's proposing this to me, I can look at it and say, all right, like all of this is pretty simple. Like I have the guaranteed income streams. I see what my Social Security will be. Like the numbers work. So I've got my income, I've got my assets on the right. And then what I can also look at is the fact that while I am draining that 401k, my net worth is still going up, which is sweet. And if you want to take it several steps further, you can see what does it look like if I don't have Social Security for one spouse or both. There's my income. And then I would start to look to pull from other assets to supplement that income. But we just really lay everything out and show individuals, here's your income, and then here's your net worth. The last thing that I'll mention in closing is we also like to look at alternatives. Here's the exact same scenario, except for we start to take income from the annuity as soon as we retire, meaning they buy that annuity now, but they don't have to wait until they're 67 to take income. They could start at 60 if they want. And if they do that, that means they need less from their 401k from 60 up until 67, which helps the net worth during that period of time stay higher. But it's just different options. In this case, we put together 2 different options. In some cases, we'll put together 3 to 4. It really depends on an individual's goals and such. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, please leave them down below. For a couple in a different situation, you can watch this video here.